Okay, this was not the plan when I restarted my YouTube channel a couple months ago. I was going to do all kinds of stuff, stories, anecdotes, experiences. But it's become very obvious that when I do the Mormon themed videos, whether it's my mission, leaving the church, my experiences in it, whatever, those are by far the most watched videos. So I'll keep doing them. I'm going to keep doing other videos too. In fact, today I was going to do one on a crazy thing we did growing up in, well, it wasn't so much growing up. We were in our early 20s and we would water ski on the irrigation ditches. Not easy to do. I'll tell you that story maybe in the next few days. But today, I thought I would talk about the Mormon church in different countries. Now, I only have experiences Norway, Canada, USA, as far as the church. So I can't speak on other countries, although I had friends that were in Taiwan and Korea and Italy and Finland and Iceland, and they told me stories. And it's very obvious that it's a little bit different everywhere you go. I mean, the philosophy, what they teach is pretty much the same everywhere, but it's kind of like, oh, by the way, tack för sist, välkommen tillbaka, welcome back, thank you for being here, thanks for the thumbs up, smashing that like button. It's pretty obvious that it's similar, but what I was going to say is, do you remember that game you'd play when you're kids? You'd all sit around a table and somebody would whisper something to the person next to them. You know, hey, I went to the movie with Elvis Presley in it, and you whisper that, and it goes around the table, and 15, 20 people later, it comes back to you, and it's completely different. That's kind of how I feel like the church is. Espa, do not eat my grass. Come here, you stinker. My big dog loves eating my decorative grass, and it's just starting to grow. And I'm like, don't kill it. But yeah, you're a good puppy. You're a good puppy. Yes, you are. So it was definitely different in Norway. Now, I served in many different cities there, and it was a little bit different everywhere you went. So the biggest branch that I served in, there are branches, wards, stakes. A branch and a ward. A branch is a small version of ward. It's like a ward is a group of people, maybe 200, 300, 400. A stake is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different wards together. And twice a year, I think they have stake conferences. Now, you got to remember, all my information is from many years ago. It's been a long time since I left. So that, you know, it might be different now. So if it has changed, fair enough. But in Norway, where I was, they were all little branches. The biggest one I was in was my hometown of Stavanger, Norway. And I'd say we probably had 50, 60, 70 people show up most Sundays. If it was summer and everybody was on vacation, sometimes there'd be 30 or 40. Well, it was summer the whole time I was there. Sometimes there were 30 or 40. Now, in the little bit bigger ones, now Oslo has pretty much normal size wards. You know, a couple hundred people go to church. And I think they had 3 or 4 wards when I was there. But I noticed when I would go to different little branches, especially when I was way up in North Norway, they had some weird, kind of crazy ideas. I remember once, my companion and I, and if you don't know what a companion is, so you serve with another dude, or if you're a girl, you serve with another girl. Excuse me. And they're with you all the time. We were teaching this family a lesson about the church. And it was something to do with the Book of Mormon. You know, we almost always started with the Bible, and then we would, you know, phase into the Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, and Pearl of Great Price, which, if you're not familiar, are 3 additional scriptures that the Mormon LDS church has. I know they like being called LDS now. I'm sorry, it's always been Mormon my whole life. You can't change it on me now, especially since I'm not in it anymore. I do not mean any disrespect calling it the Mormon church. That's just what it is for me. Anyway, once in a while you would have a member come along with you, kind of as they get to learn some stuff, but they also get to help teach these potential people that might join their group, you know, their branch, their congregation. And I remember once we had this little old lady came with us. I thought she was old. She was probably in her late 60s, which that kind of hurts now because I'm creeping up on that pretty quick. But she seemed really old to me. She was this little tiny woman. She was really sweet. And I don't remember specifically what we were talking about, but it was something to do with the Book of Mormon and the Lamanites and the Nephites. And if you don't know what that is, it's just different groups of people that came from the old country over to the Americas, according to the Book of Mormon. And Jesus, according to the Mormons, visited North America after his resurrection. So we were talking about that, pretty basic stuff. You know, we never like to overwhelm anybody, so we kept it pretty basic. And we were talking about how, you know, they came over to the new world. And this little old lady that was with us, she's like, do you mind if I kind of put my 2 cents in here and tell them a little bit about what I know about this? And we're like, sure, go ahead. She started going on about spacecraft and aliens and how the Nephites and Lamanites descended from aliens that picked them up in spaceships over in the old country and then bred with these new people, and that's how we got the Nephites and the Lamanites. And my companion and I just kind of sat there like for a good, I don't know, 20 seconds, just kind of like shocked at what she was saying. And then when we finally got our wits about us, we're like, hey, no offense, but that's not actually true. And she goes, oh yeah, our branch president taught us that. And I said, I was the senior companion at the time. There's always a junior companion, a senior companion. Usually the senior companion has been out longer, knows the language better, knows the lessons better, that kind of thing. It's not like it sounds, it's not like I'm in charge and you have to do what I say. It's not really like that. Although there are guys like that. I had one like that and I hated his guts. But we're like, you know what? We'll talk about this later, because we really didn't want to. These people were so confused, and you could tell, and it was a mom and her mom. So the mom's mom was probably in her 70s. The mom was probably around 50. And then she had like 3 kids there that were anywhere from their mid-teens to maybe early 20s. And you could see them looking like, what the hell are you all teaching? Because this is craziness. And we had to kind of calm the old lady down, the local Mormon lady. She wasn't mean, but she was very adamant that what she was saying was right. And later we talked to her and said, look, we don't know where you got this from. This is not the teaching of the church. Whoever told you this is just flat out wrong. Let us know who they are. We'll go talk to them. And we did talk to them, and they were pretty defiant too. So the point is, you spread out from the center, which is Salt Lake City, now anyway. And you get to different places, and there are definitely, my wife has told me things about growing up in the Mormon church in Southern California that are completely different from what I was taught in Canada. And then when I went to Rick's College in BYU, and I'm like, no, that's not true. Where did you hear that? She's like, I learned it in Sunday school and primary and church. And I was like, I don't know who told you that, but that's just not right. But it makes you start wondering and questioning things, because it's, you know, granted, it's a fairly big church. There are about 18 million members. Now, granted, they count me as a member, so it's really not 18 million people. It's probably half that are active. I'd say 7 to 9 million are probably active members. Probably 5 or 6 are hardcore active members. 5 or 6 million are hardcore active members. I don't know the numbers exactly, but when I was active in the church, it was pretty common church-wide for the activity rate to be in the 50% range. In fact, I remember when I met with Thomas Monson in Norway because I was drafted into the Norwegian military, and he was going to send me to Sweden. He later became the president/prophet of the Mormon Church. He passed away 8-10 years ago. Don't quote me on that either. Super nice guy, one of the most spiritual, friendly, nicest people I have ever met in my life. I love Thomas Monson. President Monson was just a good dude. He was an apostle of the church, one of the 12 apostles when I met with him. And he told me at the time that the stake that I grew up in Taber, Alberta, Canada, was one of the most active stakes in the world. I think he said we were around 80%, which is unheard of. Like I said, church-wide is more in the 50 to 55% range, and it might be lower now. I have no idea. Some of y'all might know, and let me know. I'm happy to learn. So, yeah, it's very strange how it's almost like that game, depending on where you go. And the more isolated it is, it definitely gets a little warped. And some of the places I was in Norway were tiny little towns way away from Oslo, which is the main hub of Mormonism in Norway. At the time I was there were 4,000 or 5,000 members in the whole country. And of those 4,000 or 5,000 members, I think around 1,500 or 2,000 were in Oslo. So as you start spreading out and you start getting these little tiny groups of people, it's really easy for things to get distorted. I would love to hear if you have some kind of quirky stories, involving Bigfoot or aliens or whatever. It's funny, I was watching a YouTube video this morning about a guy he lives here in Utah, and he was fishing up here in the Uintas. And he told kind of a Bigfoot story. He didn't say it was Bigfoot, but that's what he implied. I'm fascinated by that stuff. I don't know whether I believe in it or not. I've told you about the skinwalker experience we had up here in the Utah high desert. It was pretty freaky. I saw something. I don't know what. So if you're interested in that, go back, 15, 20 videos. So let me know your stories. Let me know what you think. If you're LDS, is it different where you live than, say, Utah or Norway or Korea? If you live in Korea, let me know. I'd love to hear from people from other countries, and if the teachings are different, because I know for a fact that it does differ. And I heard from my buddies in all these different countries, Korea, Taiwan, Italy, that there were people with very strange ideas from what we grew up with. So I would love to hear your stories. Keep this one a little bit shorter. Got to get ready to go meet my old college/high school/lifelong friend. I'm really excited. It'll be fun going to have some steak. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching these videos, especially if you're still here. I dig it. I appreciate it. It's fun kind of watching this just slowly grow and hopefully building a bit of a community where my main purpose is to try to keep things as positive as possible. Sometimes I know it can veer off a little bit, but my whole point is to be friendly, kind, happy, positive. I don't want to sow any division or hatred, especially if you're watching and you're LDS. Please know I respect the religion. I know some of you comment that you don't. You have that right. I do. My parents are strong LDS people. They're very active. I have a brother in Salt Lake who is very active. In fact, I think he's in the bishopric. Great dude. So it's just not for me. It's just not for me. Some of you will tell me I need to come to Jesus. I have in my own way. But thanks for watching. Have a fantastic, what day is it today? Thursday, right? Hey, it's almost the weekend. It's Little Friday. Have a beautiful day. Takk for denne gang. Vi snakkes igjen snart. I håper alle har det godt. I hope you all have a fantastic Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a beautiful day. It's great to be alive. I know there are bad things in the world, but try to focus on the good. Peace. Love.